Alright, hello everyone, welcome to EHTML Demo. Today I'm just gonna explain what it is, what is this tool, and what is the motivation behind this tool, why I created it, and overall how it works and how we can expand our understanding how we can build web applications, especially what comes to front ends. And I'll just briefly explain what it is, and also we're gonna create very simple web application just to show you how it can be easily achieved. And although the application that we're going to build is quite simple, but it shows a lot of use cases and things that many people build every day around the world. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So if we're going to talk about my motivation, of course, one of the key things is to focus on Ajax and how we interact with this technology, because it's quite sometimes tricky to simplify such thing in JavaScript code. It gets repetitive. We're doing the same thing, then we're trying to somehow manage the state and etc. etc. So those kind of things I wanted to simplify as much as possible. Another thing, of course, is the state management. As I told before, it's extremely painful to deal with this. And what I'm gonna say is that HTML encouraged you to reduce your judgment on how you can manipulate the state. It's okay, I think, in my opinion, it's okay to store state management in some global scopes or in main spaces of memory. Then, of course, it's okay to persist it in HTML DOM, like in attributes or in form of elements. Also, it's okay I think to store it in local storage, session storage, and all those kind of things. And I hope we'll get to that. Another thing, of course, is just to reduce number of abstractions, because to my knowledge, it's just insane how complicated things are with many things like JSX and like Redux or other things in different applications, where we're trying to solve really, in my opinion, not practical problems of being reactive by just increasing number of those abstractions, increasing the complexity of development process itself, where you need to each time to build your scripts after you make a change. Overall, I think it's quite bloated, and for the most cases, it's not needed. So hopefully I will try to prove my point. Of course, what comes to routing, I think that we can build multi-page applications that can look like single page applications. I'm not saying that HTML is a perfect solution for that exactly, but you can achieve great results with that. And hopefully HTML will be very suitable for this thing in near future as well. So I'm just gonna try to show you how routing and in general how the problem itself can be resolved much easier than it's done in most of the libraries or frameworks. And of course, we know that HTML is a markup language, but what I'm going to show is that you can manipulate the templates in HTML, like template elements, like tag template or other elements like custom elements in HTML in a way that the HTML can manipulate itself. So I'll try to show you how it's done, and hopefully you'll like the idea. And of course, there are many things like loading different parts of HTML into main frame or main DOM. Also loading different SVGs, for example, where you can externally load them like images, but not like images, but the SVG XML text itself. And of course, you can on the flow render markdowns, which is also quite neat. And of course, the main motivation why I'm doing this is just to give real alternative, because although there are a lot of frameworks and you can compare Vue, React, or Angular, they're all kind of have similar approaches how they deal with state management, and not exactly, but they're trying to deal with this in kind of reactive mode, and I don't think this is the best solution, practical solution for the most part, simply because it's just extremely difficult to build such applications in a way that they'll be maintainable in a mid-term or long-term while you're developing such applications. There is also EHTML webpage. You can learn a lot more on this website. So let's just take a look. So there is a documentation where you can read about how you can use this tool. It's quite easy. You just include the script in the head. There is also an opportunity for you to turn on and turn off the mutation observer that's been created in the document itself. So it's quite neat. So you can turn it off when you don't need actually this tool. It will dramatically improve the performance when it's needed. So yeah. Also, I'm gonna display supported elements in HTML. There are not many, but maybe there'll in the future there'll be a bit more or a lot more elements. It depends on people's needs, and probably we can create some kind of add-ons or plugins. So yeah, I think it's up to discussion. So yeah, overall, this is what it is. And of course, there are some predefined actions on Ajax response. So I will take, of course, I will talk about a little bit more when we will discuss how we can create an application. Of course, there are many little features like this one. I'm not gonna discuss this one right now, but overall there are some few details that are attached to the actions on Ajax response, and of course there are some tips that can help you to improve the overall performance of your web applications. Of course there are a lot more, but overall that what comes to HTML and that you can easily apply all are here, so you can read them more. So of course there is a list of examples on how you can use each element, and yeah, you can learn these things. So the main point of this library is just to get rid of JavaScript code on client side as much as possible by encapsulating the logic and the behavior of certain things just right into the application into the HTML code, just by creating this custom elements and using custom data attributes that you can use. And that's basically the idea, and hopefully I will show you how you can in very interesting way to achieve the final result that we'll discuss. So of course you can learn about benefits here as well, but we'll come to it. I also want to say that there is already a real application out there which is based on this tool. It's called Unison. It's a my side project, which basically it's a tool for musicians which allows you to convert the input text. It's kind of like a DSL for musicians, and you can render this text into this beautiful music score. And of course there is a playback. You can listen to the music as well. So so today we are going to discuss this blog application. So there are two parts of this application: the front end, which is will be based basically in HTML, but with use of HTML JS library. And there is also backend, which can be implemented in any language. I will just first of all, of course, I will just try to show you how the application works, what it consists of, what will be the final results. So let's start with the email. So this is the blog app. So we can, let's say, create some posts, and let's create some posts with title and some content. All right. When we press the button post, we can see immediately that we're redirected to the view with the post, and there is also comment section, so we can add some comment. All right, and here you see it's immediately appears here. We can of course add some other comment, and yeah, it will be added here as well. Okay, so then of course we can go to see all the posts. Right now it's just one post, so let's create one more just for the demonstration purposes. So see how it's done. Let's create title 2, content 2. All right, and yeah, let's go to the list of posts, and you can see that the latest post or newest post on the top. So what can we do? Yeah, also we can of course go to the view of the post itself. So this is basically quite basic application, but you can find many similarities in other applications that use such user experience or user flow, so to speak. So all right, so let's go to the index page and just let's analyze it, and let's create this view. So let me just change the screens, and let me for a moment restart the server. Each time when I restart, everything cleans up, and we can see that we have no post because I restarted the server. So yeah, this is also quite important thing. Then the application understands the state that when we don't have any posts, we must show this page. So it's also quite important to understand before we jump into the implementation. So all right, let's go to the index page. So the whole application is consists of this four pages with or files with HTML code, and that's it. All you need is just to include this script and build those HTML files, and the application is ready. So yeah, how beautiful it is. And yeah, let's start with the index page. So here we got the body and some div, which okay, so let me just rearrange the screens, which contains this whole thing. If we go, so first things first, we need to add some EHTML tag. This tag or element tells us that we need to load some sort of file into this view. It helps us to separate different kind of like HTML files. We can separate different parts of the application, so it will be much easier for us to develop, and also potentially to increase the the rendering speed of the application, because this thing loads up asynchronously, and if you have like lots of these files in some document, it will be they'll be rendered in parallel, so to speak. So so yeah, or rather asynchronously. So yeah, it will be more performant than usual, at least to my expectations. So of course, another thing that you need to do is just to add the link to the list of posts. So basically this link will be here. I'm not going to discuss, of course, styling. All you need to do is just to include those styles and include, of course, the script with HTML itself. So yeah, that's quite easy. So as we told, we need to load this add post HTML, which basically contains this whole form. So let's go and open this thing. And as we can see, it already contains blog box, which will contain basically the whole form. It contains the title, like this text, and let's create the form itself. It's called eForm. The main difference between eForm and just usual form in HTML is that eForm allows you to send JSON objects instead of usual format that you use for forms. So And of course, another difference is that you can much easier to do such requests, and you can also have built-in validation. For example, you can specify the error message whenever something goes wrong in submitting of the form, or just you can also specify error CSS classes for like message boxes or different parts of the form. So yeah, you can style it in any way you want, and you explicitly specify those things in such attributes. All the custom attributes by the like conventions must start with data, which this library quite much respects. So yeah, it's done due to some conventions that are in HTML5. All right, so let's add this input form with text your email. You can see that we specify the type just to be able to recognize patterns. Another thing, we specify the name of this input field, which will be used as a key in JSON that we will send to the server. You can also use predefined validation pattern for emails. There are also for like titles, names, not names, but I think like dates or other type of data. And you can also specify here your own regex pattern. So it's all working quite well. So another thing that we can discuss is yeah, of course, if you specify like required field, it will demand that, and it will show the error if the field is empty, and this message will be shown. Or let's say if the email doesn't match the pattern, this message will be shown as well. So, and of course, you can specify different CSS styles for the text and for the input element itself. The same goes for the date. As you can see, we have date and title and content fields, so let's add them as well. They are quite similar. So yeah, the final thing that we need to add is this button. You can specify this data request URL either on eForm itself. In this case, the eForm will be submitted automatically, unlike default form in HTML. But if you want to trigger this, you must specify data request URL on the button itself. You can also specify data Ajax icon that will be shown while the request in the progress. And of course, you can also specify the request method, which in most cases post for forms. All right. Another key aspect is that you must, if you want to, of course, handle a response, you must specify the response name in attribute data response name, and you can apply data actions on response. In this case, we're just redirecting to the post, and as you can see, we have a ID query with the ID from the response. So once this we submit it, we get the response from the body, and we can basically, yeah, we can redirect to the specific post that we just created. In order to show you, let me open the Postman, and let me just add new post. So let's say this is content, or rather JSON object, the same one that will be sent by that form that we created. And if I just create send, we will see that we can get the ID and some comments and other fields, and we can get the ID from the body of the response. Another aspects or fields that you can get from the response, of course, is status code and headers. All those things you can also use, but we will get to that as well. And of course, we can add the Ajax icon, which uses basically the same query selector that we specified in data Ajax icon. In this case, it will, since we specified the class name, it will just take the first matched item. So it's all good. Okay, now let's just create this thing, and yeah, let's just press button post, and we can see that the validation works quite well, and you can style it in any way you want. So let's pick a date, or let's say I'm gonna mess up the format of the email, and you can see the message that this is not the proper email. So it works quite well as well. Okay, so let's press the button, and so we can see this view, and yeah, let's build and let's see how it works. So again, if we just gonna try and test this thing, let's say we can get the specific post by ID, as you can see. So it's quite important to mention to pay attention to this URL param, which we will discuss. Okay, so let me go to the post which is responsible for this page, and so the first things first that you can notice is that we are using template. And templates, as you might know, in HTML, there are some type of elements that are not being rendered immediately on page load. They're rather something that can be manipulated in JavaScript to when you can release templates on certain use cases or circumstances. So yeah, it's quite important to know that. And the main feature of this template is that when we so it's called ePage with URL. Of course, you might not use this template from your own objective reasons, but overall, to me personally, it always makes sense to somehow attach the HTML page to a real physical world where I know that this page is served by certain URL which contains ID. It's just much nicer, it looks much nicer, and you understand the whole logic and the context of certain page HTML files. So why are we doing this? So this template initialize URL params variable in window global scope, which we will discuss that as well. And here we just specify that ID is expected as a query param, and yeah, let's go further. Here we just specify this block box div. Then we go to the element which is called eJSON. Basically, we making data src where we trying to load the specific post, and as you can see, we're using URL params. With the field ID, which is specified which was specified here. So once those URL params are initialized in the memory, HTML releases this template and displays everything with mapped URL params or other things from the memory or responses, whatever. So yeah, we also specified the query selector for Ajax icon. We specified the response name, and this one of those actions on response. Of course, you can define your own, but this one is predefined because it's quite useful and it's quite easy to use. All you need is just to specify the query selector and the response, and the main thing that this function does is just it maps this response on this template. So let's go add this Ajax icon first of all, and let's add this post template which we specified here with ID post template. And of course, in order to define the object name which is mapped on this template, we specify this name here. In this case, they are the same, but you can specify a different one. But overall, you must understand, of course, when we mapping certain things from here to here, it's the same object. So yeah. Okay, so another template which we will use is called if. All you need to do is just specify attribute is equals to if, and another attribute that you must specify here is data condition to display. Here we just getting status code from the post response, and if it's equals 404, it means that the post is not found, and we will get certain certain message. So for example, let's add some crazy number here, and yeah, you will see that the post is not found by this ID. All right, so then we need another if template which will have different condition to display. In this case, if everything is okay or status code is equal to the 200, we can we can map this response by using like attributes, like for example data text, and we can just map the certain things, certain fields on HTML as well. So it's quite useful. For example, here we just mapping title, user email, date, and content from the body of the response. And then we go to the comment box. Here we're adding again the if template. In case if we don't have any comments, it will show this message, right? So yeah, it's quite interesting. And another thing, of course, is that we are adding another if template in case then when the number of comments is more than 0. Here we're just displaying if for each. So yeah, everything works quite nicely. Another thing, so this is what comes to displaying comments, and now let's create this form. It will be created based on this comment template. You might notice that it's with special attribute is, which is equal to reusable. It tells us that this certain template can be reused many times, and we can also specify how exactly we can release this template in which place and how exactly, because we can, for example, release this certain templates before certain elements or after certain elements. So yeah, all those things are quite important to keep in mind. So the same goes for like this form, nothing out of the ordinary compared to what we did before. So yeah, I mean, we're just adding the whole form with all sorts of validations and input fields and the button, which corresponds to the same thing when we're adding certain comments for certain posts. For example, we already know that we need to map this post response ID to the comments, so the system will know to which comment we are adding a certain comment, and there are 4 actions on response. Of course, you can combine them in one custom and specify somewhere in JavaScript code and invoke here. In this case, we're just mapping the response body on that reusable template. So yeah, by default, it will just it will be added right after the previous release. So yeah. Okay, so I think I'm just trying to find, maybe there are some information on that as well, but yeah, I think overall it will be replaced right before this template by default. But of course you can find more information in documentation as well on this particular element. So other things that we can do is we can change value of certain input fields to when we for example add the comment. We just right after we send it, everything cleans up, so we can add more comments in the future. And of course we hide the message that there are no comments, because once we added some comment, this message already doesn't make any sense and we can hide it. So yeah, this is how the whole application state management is done. Of course we can add Ajax icon as well, and we can add the link to the all posts and the link to the form where we can add a new one. So all right, so another thing that we can discuss is this template, or rather view with a list of posts. So let's go and build this one. Again, we are going to use ePage with URL, where we can specify the page and size. So just let me demonstrate how, so this whole thing is based on pagination. So let me add 2 more posts just to demonstrate to you that the pagination works as well. So for example, we can add title free, some content. Okay. And yeah, let's add one more post, like title 4, content. Okay, so if we go to all the posts, you can see that the page is 0. I'm starting from 0, but of course you can configure it in any way you want. And there is a link that redirects to the next page, and we can see the first post that we created. And of course there is a link to the previous. So as you can see, the application understands when we have more pages to come, and like in which page and which links to show. So let's create this view. Again, we are gonna use eJSON, which basically uses the size from URL parameters and also page number from URL parameters. We're also gonna map post response to map template with Ajax icon. Let's build this template which we're using for mapping. Of course, we're using if in case of there are no posts, we'll show this message that there are no posts. Otherwise, we are going to show the list of posts through the for each template. We are going to use the post ID. Yeah, I think I haven't discussed the for each template, but here we just specify data list to iterate. We specify the posts from the response, and we can also specify the data item name, which we can map on what's inside of this template. And yeah, basically that's how it works. And of course we can use if template again to show previous message. For example, in this case, we know that if page number is more than 0, we must show the previous page. And of course, if last page, so for example, when we load the list of, let's say, when we load the list of posts, we can see the parameter from the backend, which tells us if this page is the last or not. And by using this parameter, we can show or not show the link to the next page. And of course, we can add this add new post link. So basically, yeah, I think that's about it. Just 4 HTML pages, just to create this simple application. And yeah, we're ready to go. So as you could see, we persisted our application state right into the HTML document, which is extremely easy and is really helpful to manage and to maintain the complexity, and just to restrict ourselves from expanding the whole lots of logic on client side, which is really cool. And yeah, that's basically what I wanted to show in this video. Yeah, I will definitely consider many things that I can improve in this library. Also, I hope for your feedback, and yeah, hopefully I will create more videos and content on this particular library and other stuff as well, which I'm working on. So yeah, stay tuned, and thanks a lot for everybody for watching, and bye.